The future of quant surveying is very, very bright. I think the AI can never take out.
How much can a QS earn?
There are many misunderstandings.
You construct a building, it's only a structure. If you want to give the life to that building, you need to introduce the MEP.
Who is a quantity surveyor?
Quantity surveying is an art and science.
What is RIBA plan of works?
Cost planning is a tool which we use to allocate budgets to various elements.
Should we invest in this project or not? Are we going, or is it the right solution for us?
Method of procurement where you have the design done first. After the design, you get the costing, then you get the tender, then you get the...
What is the success mantra for becoming a good quantity surveyor?
To one very good book. Now using Candy and PalmSwift together, I can cut short like 5 days. So that means in 10 days time, I can work on 2 tenders.
So you shouldn't say, oh, architect, I know you do the design, but the quantity surveyor will bear the risk.
Value engineering, it is not something to reduce the cost, but keeping the same value. We are using one thumb rule, it is called like FAT rule, because between the lines there is something which may cost you million.
Quantity surveying is such a complex and intricate field.
Because I normally tell myself, the harder the project, the better. 270 million dirhams.
One advice.
The scope is not always in the industry. The scope is in the individual as well.
From mechanical engineer to MEP Quantity Surveyor.
Who is MEP Quantity Surveyor?
Like MEP, it contributes like a 25 to 30%.
You blame the MEP for everything. They are the ones that made your budget more.
Calculation or takeoff of the quantity.
Quick in estimation, and you need to be smart at the work.
Risk management is something you incorporate as early as possible.
In the range of 15 to 20, depending upon the building.
Before I used to work hard, but now I used to work smart.
I just needed to stay awake to get this measurement done.
How the Dubai market was on boom.
Budget overall between 2 stages of design. Hence, I had to go back the old school way.
Sustainable practices.
It's not a choice anymore.
Dispute regarding contract.
The payment to the contractor should be done 28 days.
Very informative. So
Are you going to accept that job?
I'll accept it. This construction, if I'm not doing it, somebody else will do it.
That's a successful mantra.
The quantity surveying is a charming profession.
what do you think is your strength in QS work?
Cost management.
Construction technology.
Eye for details. Originally, I wanted to be an architect. Why do you need a special accountant for that? I said, well, that's interesting. Then why am I going to engineering?
I love to hear these stories.
So then you take the rope and then you put it on the scale and say, okay, yeah, that's it. 10 meters.
Oh
10 meters,
my
okay. And then you take a meter.
Well, hello everybody to today's podcast. I am really excited about this one because we have some really great guests, and all of them are trainers for Noble QS, who is sponsoring today's video. And we will learn a little bit about their career and about their adventure through these past few years. So let's start.
Yeah, my name is Ali, and I'm a MEP Quantity Surveyor. I've done my mechanical engineering in 2015, and then after I have started working as a MEP Quantity Surveyor in Dubai, and I'm in this industry almost like 10 years, and with Noble, it's been like almost like 2 to 3 years. we are like together, and I'm a part of a Noble from last 2-3 years. So this is what. And I hope like we will continue for
many decades.
For many decades. And
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Okay. Would you like to
Yeah,
also?
of course, absolutely. My name is Patrick. I'm a quantity surveyor. My core degree is in quantity surveying. I have about 7 years of experience and active experience.
That matters.
Yeah, that really matters. And I've been working in the UAE for the past 3 years now, so it's been exciting. And then I've been part of Noble from the very beginning.
From the very beginning,
from
before
the
even
very
it started.
So it's a wonderful platform that gives us the opportunity to share our knowledge and our expertise. And then it's great. It's a great platform.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah. We'll definitely talk more about that.
Yeah, we will. There's a lot of things to talk
Yeah.
about.
But let's start from the beginning. How did you guys meet? Because it's a really great bunch of professionals.
Let me quickly introduce my team members. So first time I met Ali, I think it was back in 2018, I believe, if I'm not wrong. So Ali was working in one of the famous contracting company, and his company invited me to conduct a training session. He was working there because we share a same language, or it could be a same vibe as well that connects us. So after this training session, it was just a training session. I have conducted many, but it connects us. We were in a touch through WhatsApp, through LinkedIn, and then after that, there were some opportunities where I was in need of some MEP quantity surveyor. So I've requested him, why don't you just join me? You have a good experience, and I was really impressed by his skills as well. So we started giving training session at different institute, different companies. So this is where I met Ali. And I'm really happy that when I started the Noble QS, I requested him, he accepted. So I'm glad that he's part of the team.
That's great.
What about Ali and about Mr. Patrick. It's quite funny because in 2020, it was a peak time. I have a good memory, Patrick. You can't doubt.
I know.
So I can even tell you it was evening around 7 p.m. So Patrick called me and he said, I heard about your PlanShift training session. I'm really interested to know more about PlanShift. So can you please tell me more? Can we just, book a meeting? So yeah, we did. And then after this, introduction session about PlanShift, we will stay in touch because I was very impressed by his knowledge and his approach toward quantity surveying. So when I was planning to start Noble QS and my YouTube, I was, I will say desperately looking for a talented quantity surveyor. And the first person that came in mind, that was Patrick. So I requested him. He was very eager to part. Not many people know, but behind my YouTube videos and behind the Noble, he's the brain. He's the most talented QS I have ever met and more knowledgeable. So I'm very thankful and I'm very blessed that I discovered these two amazing individuals. And I'm really proud to call them friends too.
That is really amazing. Oh my gosh.
I mean, what, Ajman? Ajman, that was what
Yeah,
we met.
he was staying at that time in Ajman,
staying
and
in Ajman,
literally I
and
have to
then-
travel like 60 to 70 minutes every day from Dubai just to meet Patrick. We were discussing about, Noble thing. It was the early stage of Noble where we have to discuss what to teach, what to cover, so many things, and literally there are a lot of hard works.
Oh my gosh, and the dedication.
True, it is.
Yeah, I mean, it was very, I mean, I told you that time, you never can tell where this is going to take us. right?
Exactly.
I told you.
exactly.
We
And
don't
here
know
we
where
are today.
We don't know where this is going to lead us. It's the content is there. And then, it's...
That sounds like a really exciting journey. And I would really like to know more, but let's start from the beginning. So Patrick, you've mentioned that you are a quantity surveyor.
Yes.
So I wanted to know what initially attracted you to that profession.
Yeah, so originally I wanted to be an architect. I wanted to be an architect, I never knew what quantity surveying was. But unfortunately, I did not have the requirements for the particular university I wanted to go to. So I was like, okay, what's the next thing? Like, what can I do? I really want to see drawings. I want to see models. I want to see stuff like that. And then there was a lecturer who gave me an advice. I said, you know what? You just go for quantity surveying. I'm like, what's quantity surveying? So it's in a nutshell, it's more like a
Someone who deals with drawings.
Yeah, no, not necessarily. He said that it's he's an accountant of the construction industry. I was like, accountant of the construction industry? Why do you need a special accountant for the construction industry? And then he gave me a proper breakdown, and he gave me a good explanation of who a quantity surveying is and what he does. And then immediately I was hooked. Like the orientation he gave me at that time was very mind blowing. And then I asked him, "Do I get to see drawings?" He said, "Yes. You literally have to.
That's your job.
Yeah, that's your job. You have to look at the law." I said, "Whoa, that's interesting." Then I'm all in. And then that was it. That was it. And I started my course, and it was tough. It was tough in university. Yeah, I mean, it was tough in university because as a quantity surveyor, or the training for a quantity surveyor, you are required to know every other professional, what they do, not necessarily know how to do it, but you need to understand how they do their job so that you can attach some kind of cost element to it. So, so in university, we had to take some courses from civil engineering. Wow, that was tough. Engineering, mathematics. We took course for 3 years from economics, which is very important because you need to know about the economical factors, the construction industry. We're talking about interest rates, law, demand and supply, and the likes. So we took some courses from law, for law of contracts and all these things. We did some courses from business administration, just so you can learn how to set up your own company, your own firm, how to practice, how to organize your your firm, yeah. And then we did some courses from architecture, just to know how to do some basic designs.
So finally, you did what you like.
So the funny thing is, while you were in school, it was difficult. Like, what I mean by it was difficult, okay, I know this is my faculty, right? Quantity surveying, but why am I going to engineering? Why am I going there? So we were literally taking the courses with those who came to study those courses. So it was challenging, but I'm happy now. Back then it was a bit tough, but now I'm happy because it's made me who I am. It's made me flexible, and I'm ready to practice anywhere. Eager, and there's no challenge that comes out.
True.
I might have one or two ideas.
There's no doubt about it.
So that's how I fell in love with quantity surveying.
Okay, that's enchanting. And how you had to dabble in different areas is also
The training.
a lot of work. Okay, and Ali, I would like to ask you the same, but also being a mechanical engineer, how did that happen? How did you get interested in quantity surveying?
Okay, initially when I started my career in this building construction, I was a mechanical engineer. Back in my country in India, there is no course such like quantity surveying course. Like if you go in some other countries and all, they have especially the course for the quantity surveying. But in India, we don't have. We do the engineering. Like he's a civil engineer, he's a mechanical engineer, and he's an electrical engineer. So we don't have such course like a quantity surveying. When I came back in 2014 here, I wanted to be a mechanical engineer. Like I worked on the site, like it was hot, like 47, 48 degrees Celsius. And my first project was in Dubai Parks in Lapita. I was moving here and there, and I was checking like a ducts, diffusers, air calculations and all. This is what my initial career like in building construction.
Yes.
Then my manager, my immediate project manager, we all know that like in 2014, like how the Dubai market was on boom. There were so many projects were there in the line, and so much construction was like about to come.
Exactly.
So for that, my manager, he told you have a very good computer skills and all, and we are going to teach you a software, like that was a plan shift software, which the training you the only one who has given. So he introduced me the plan shift software. For that, like he told like this is the software which is used to take the quantities, like even the minute details for the mechanical or plumbing or electrical things you can take from this software. Because like that back in like 2010 or 2012, project manager used to give like A0 sheet. He'll give like different highlighters and told you just draw a line to measure the duct, draw a line to measure the pipe, draw a line to measure the cable. So this is how the quantity surveyor were doing it. And I don't want to do this task in my everyday life. Then after like the plan shift training was given to us, and it was introduced, and I found something interesting, not particularly to one project for 2 years, rather than doing so many projects at the same time, learning new things, learning new mechanical system, learning new electrical system, learning new plumbing systems. So that was a challenging things and quite more interesting I felt. So this is how I become from mechanical engineer to MEP Quantity Surveyor.
Yeah, of course.
Successful transformation.
Oh, that's brilliant. It has its own challenges, but that's what makes it really interesting, I guess.
Exactly, yes.
That's really nice.
So you see that the quantity surveying is a charming profession. Charms you.
Absolutely.
And I'm blessed and I'm very happy like what I am now. And this is what like when I started my career back in 2014, I was a young professional. So I didn't know that what I will be after 10 years. Now what I'm thinking what I become after 10 years, that's the one which I wanted to be. And I can see my vision also after 10 years. So what I will be after 10 years, I'm pretty sure I'll be in the good and comfortable place.
Perfect. Oh, that is great. Yeah, to have that feeling. Absolutely brilliant. And Saady, from your perspective, who is a quantity surveyor in one word?
One word. Okay. So a quantity surveyor in one word is a cost consultant or advisor.
No, that's 2 words.
Sorry, my bad.
It's with a slash.
If you have to pick one.
Yeah, either or. Okay, brilliant. Nice. And Could you please let me know a little bit about the project, the hardest project or most challenging one that you had to deal with?
Yeah, the hardest project I had to work on was when I first joined my company. So there's this job. It's the idea is just to have like a jungle inside, like inside the entertainment center. So when you come in, you have like this jungle experience, trees, you've got planes hanging on the trees. You've got different props
Oh my
and
God.
stuff like that, and then you've got pyramids.
I'm not going to ask the client name. So.
But it was. So I was looking at how do I price this? How do I measure? Like this is not your usual concrete
Typical
block,
ground
floor and
plastics?
stuff like that. And it's not even your typical finish, wall finish, floor finish. I mean, I can see trees, literally trees. And I can see planes, different stuffs and that. And then, but the easiest way I was able to approach it was I literally just had to print the drawings. I had to go back the old school way because I felt that was the only way I could tackle it. So I printed all the drawings, hard copy, and then no software, nothing, pencil.
Oh my gosh.
And then that was how I was able to tackle it. And I think it was very eye opening because no one within my unit had done that before.
But I'm sure it helped you to learn a lot, a new perspective, right?
It did help me, and then also it helped the entire unit going forward, So with what I had done, it was hard work, but it was easy to build on it, and then to prepare cost estimates, and then to prepare cost plan on it, and then to, give a delivery to the client. So it was very tough because
I believe you are lucky to have this opportunity to learn because now you have a bigger perspective about
yes, I do.
all of these.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an amazing opportunity because I normally tell myself the harder the project, the better. If it's so difficult, it's so complex, it's good because if you're able to break it down, it's tough breaking it down, but if you're able to conquer it, you become a better person in terms of knowledge, in terms of experience. So so that's why any hard project, just throw it to me. I'm ready to go.
Ready to face it.
Yeah. The harder, the better for me. But some people it's different. But for me, I think it's good. Okay. And I also advise QS to don't shy away from hard jobs, difficult or complex projects. Face it head on. That's the best way to develop.
Yeah,
your skills.
It's a character growth opportunity.
Yeah, correct.
It's really nice. And Ali, I'm sure our audience and listeners wants to know, could you tell a little bit more about MEP and who is MEP Quantity Surveyor?
Okay. MEP, the full form for the MEP, it's a mechanical, electrical, and plumbing.
Okay.
Like if you are talking about a quantity survey, there is a two quantity survey. Like MEP, it contributes like a 25 to 30% of a total construction value.
Yeah, correct.
So it basically a mechanical systems, or in short, you can say is a HVAC system. HVAC is a heat, ventilation, and air conditioning system. Heating, of course, in this part of the world, we are not using the heating, but ventilation, we are using it. It can be a forced ventilation. When you go in your day-to-day life, you can see like so many fans, which is like throwing the air outside or taking an outside air inside the buildings and all. This is what a ventilation system it is. Air conditioning, we all know we are sitting in a very cool environment.
Thankfully.
Thankfully. And it is like blessed by the mechanical engineers that they have created an
You're taking
very
the credit now.
equipment. So like outside weather it is 47 degrees Celsius, inside we are sitting very comfortable here. So that is like air conditioning system. There is so many kinds of air conditioning systems also it comes. For the knowledge for my listeners, I'll tell you like there is basically it's a 5 types of air conditioning systems. There is a chilled water systems, there is a district cooling systems, there is a chillers, there is a DX units, there is a VRF units. So these are the basic systems we are using it for the air conditioning. Now come to the electrical parts. Electrical, we all know that. We can see the lights it's running.
Yeah, of course.
The power and all. This is what the electrical system we are dealing with. And there is some special electrical system as well, like for like protection of the building, a lightning system. Like if weather is bad and if it is lightning and it fall on one building because it has so much energy and all, that lightning. So it can damage or it can burst one complete building
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
So for
We
that,
have-
for any high-rise building, we
We
need
have seen the lightning on Burj Khalifa. We have seen
Exactly.
these
Oh,
pictures.
yes, absolutely.
That's what he's talking about.
so like that lightning, it will be like observed by something and it will be transferred to the ground. So this is what like it will protect to the building. And we are dealing with the ELV system also.
Yeah.
ELV, it's a extra low voltage systems.
Yep.
Like this mics, okay, it doesn't need that much power what we need for the light.
Yeah.
It needs
Yeah.
a small power.
Yeah, correct.
This computer, this laptop, we need the small power. Mobile charger, we need the small power. We don't need like mega power or something
No.
like for the lights or AC or something like that. So this comes for the ELV. Come for the plumbing side, it comes like we are going to the washrooms and all, water supply, drainage
Kitchen,
system,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
fire protection systems and all, and of
Tank
course like
pumps.
LPG,
Yes.
natural gases. So these are the plumbing systems. So this is what like a small introduction about the MEP.
But it's a lot.
It
Yeah.
is a lot, and it's very informative, so it's really great.
Yeah, I think the MEP is, if I can just add, everything you said is spot on. I mean, the MEP QS, they are in charge of costing the, so the MEP system is like the vein, the lifeline of the building.
That's a good
so
way to put it.
You can just have a building and then without the MEP system, it's just bones and flesh. You know,
This
so
is what
It's really
my-
a good example.
My previous manager, one of the manager in my previous company, he used to tell like if you construct a building, it's only a structure. If you
Yeah.
want to give the life to that building, you need to introduce the MEP. So
Wow.
this is what
Ah.
an MEP QS is doing. It.
That's a motivation.
That's a
really.
great way to describe it as well. Okay, great. And right now we're in the era where a lot of technological development is happening. So, Saady, would you be able to tell us a little bit more if there were any technological advancements that affected your profession as quantity surveyor?
True, yeah. As I agree, because there's so many technologies are coming every day, especially when the AI introduced so many technologies. But there's so many software. One of the software that Ali just mentioned, PlanSafe. There are other because we have a listener, so they should know Costex, Bluebeam, Candy, and there are multiple other software. These softwares make your life easy because we all know, we all wearing our specs. This is all because of quantity takeoff. We have really done all the struggle. So if we remember how we started, as Ali just mentioned, we need to print all the drawing and, taking care of all these small details. We literally, had those magnified, see where these details are. It took a lot of time. So when I was introduced with some of the technologies like PlanSafe, it makes life much easier. It's not only faster, it's organized as well and accurate as well. So I remember before I used to work hard, but now I used to work smart.
Oh,
So
that's
that's
good.
a bigger difference. And I think I highly recommend people to adopt the technology. There are many based on the job you're doing. If it's takeoff, it's PlanSafe. If it's costing, there is a Candy and multiple other software. It's a project management. There are Primavera and other software. It's a BIM. Then one of the tool is Revit. There are many. So technologies are making your life easier. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's really great because from you describing how you had to do it all back then, sounds very challenging.
was.
Talking about that, you have a lot of experience in the field, but would you like to elaborate a little bit? How do you think the field changed since you started?
Well, I don't have a lot of experience, but there are a lot of people with many more years of experience, which I really look up to. So yeah, but when I started quantity surveying way back 2016, well, before then I've been going to some industrial training while at school, but the changes now are remarkable. I mean, then back home, I was doing a lot of my takeoffs and measurements.
I love to hear these stories.
On paper. So we did not have access to a lot of software then. We only had AutoCAD. And then when you want to measure like, let's say a curved line, you literally have to use like a thread.
Like a rope.
Yeah, like a rope. Yeah, you just place it. You're sure it's there. Then you take the rope and then you put it on the scale and say, okay, yeah, that's it.
God.
10 meters.
Oh
10 meters.
my
Okay. And then you take your
gosh.
first and then you write it down. With the technology of softwares now, we can actually measure off 2D drawings, CAD drawings. We can actually measure off even PDF drawings now and even pictures. and you can scale those drawings, you know.
Do you also used to carry the big ruler? You know?
Yeah. The funny thing is, I still have one. Not the big one, but I have my scale rule, and I still make use of my calculator. I have it still. Like it's like old Abyss diad, you know. But I mean, it just reminds me of where I'm coming from in terms of with all this lovely technology we have here, but still able to hold on to the roots, to the basic. Because you never can tell. There might be a challenging project tomorrow that requires old method to solve.
Yes.
Old school.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, so it happens every time, you know, and especially in this region, which is the heart of construction currently in the entire world. You know, someone might decide to construct, who knows, like what we have. Remember the downtown, the ring. around Burj
Yeah, it's
Khalifa.
crazy. We have seen
that's
design.
insane.
It's crazy.
I mean, let's say 50 years ago, who would have wanted to design that? Nobody. But now with the level of technology we have, you know, that gives architects the courage to design that.
A big
And then
challenge.
of course, because he knows, well, we have the technological advancement. Why not? Let's crack on with it. You know, so I mean, it's amazing, and I think it's just going to become better and better and mind blowing as time goes on. Yeah.
But it's a great perspective to have, to like know exactly where the roots started and always remember that.
Yeah, you never can tell, man. It might be the future, but future might need some, past solutions.
Yeah, never forget the history.
Yeah.
Okay, and as a MEP surveyor, going back to that topic, could you let us know maybe some of most challenging things about it, and as well as maybe the easiest part in your perspective?
It's a very tough question, actually.
Yeah, we want
If
to
you
have all the
say-
juice here.
If you say about MEP, it's a challenging.
It's just challenging.
I cannot say it's an
But
MEP.
what do you think? Which of the elements do you think is hardest to quantify as an MEP quantifier?
See, if based on my experience, like
Yep.
I'm having a 10 years experience in this field. So what I felt challenging is taking a quantity of the duct.
Wow.
So that's the
the
mechanical
most
system.
challenging
The
thing.
mechanical system.
Yeah, the mechanical
Because
system.
there's so many sizes.
Yeah.
Like because like we need to deal with so many calculations, because like how much the airflow it is there, because of the airflow what will be the size of the ducts, and what will be the size of the chilled water pipes, this much flow it is there. So each and every FCU correctly this much chilled water has to be flowed. And for getting this much temperature in this particular room, this much grill size should be there, or this much size should be the ducts.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it will be the undercool or overcool.
So many aspects behind it.
Yeah,
It's not
a lot of
that
things to
straightforward.
bear in mind as well.
Yeah, so all these things we need to bear in the mind to take all this calculation, because like if you are talking about an electrical system, of course, like this light, it has this much kilowatt power. So of course it will not vary that much, because now the electricity which is coming from Deva, and it doesn't fluctuate that much what it is fluctuating like in our countries.
Yeah.
So the power, it is some more what it is constant, but for HVAC system it is like you need to design particularly properly, especially in this part of the world where the temperature and humidity is very high.
Let
So
me
it-
interrupt you here, Ali. And what is the easiest one in MEP?
Easiest one, I'll say plumbing.
I'm afraid that if your manager is listening, he's not going to give you extra time for plumbing anymore.
No, but I support.
You said it's easy, so you have to submit today.
No. I mean, Ali, I agree with what you said, because pretty much the mechanical system is what drives the entire MEP.
Yes.
The mechanical system determines the power rating you use. It pretty much determines the entire electrical system that that might need to power those plants. So
Exactly.
yeah, so the mechanical system is pretty much the hardest,
Yes.
because if you don't get it right, you most likely mess up the other elements, the electrical elements and all these other elements. Yeah, so the mechanical is
True, but let me tell you a funny story here. Why he said hardest? Because he's caring about the accuracy. He's caring about all these aspects you need to consider. But I remember when I was working as a quantity surveyor, I worked for a small subcontracting company, and my manager, he used to say, literally, Saady, I can smell the drawing and can tell you the quantity. So if you don't want to be accurate, you can smell and you have the quantity.
No, I just look at the joint and then I just think about the joint and then I give you estimate. Interesting, wonderful manager. That's
Okay, it's nice. And now a lot of things that are happening in projects, that everybody cares in mind about the sustainability, because right now it's a big topic.
Yes.
And Saady, how do you think your role as quantity surveyor contributes to the sustainable practices in construction?
So the very first thing for quantity survey to have a complete awareness what sustainability is, and there are so many standards, there are some organizations. You have to follow those rules and regulation. I can just give a few names like LEEDs, BRAME, and green building. So the first thing is you should have an awareness, and second, you need to implement those and advise all the stakeholder to take the decisions accordingly. And you need to give your priority while choosing a material or while making a design, So your job is to have awareness and make sure that these are implemented in a project, because sustainability is not a choice anymore. We have to consider it.
Yes, absolutely.
I just want to add one more thing with Saady, like what Patrick he said before, like before the quantity surveying, just put the drawings on the paper, take the highlighter and count each and everything. Now that is not there anymore. So we are saving so much papers.
It's
like,
also
as a
sustainable
quantity surveyor.
approach.
It is also a part of sustainability.
True,
That's
very
very
true.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Patrick, would you mind me asking you a question?
Yep,
So,
shoot.
could you describe a time when you had to handle some kind of dispute regarding contract interpretation? And could you let us know how you handled it?
Yeah, so there was a project where, there's a project I'm working on. So it's a post-contract job. And then, so I was preparing the monthly application payment certification. And then I had the contractor's QS. So he rang me and said, Patrick, there's something wrong with the application. We noticed that the application says 28 days after the issuance. I was like, yes, 28 days. So what's the problem? He said he thinks it should be 14 days. I said, okay, you know what? I'll give you a call back. Let me just confirm. So I felt there must have been some kind of misinterpretation in what's in the contract or something. So I checked the contract, the condition of contract, and I discovered that it clearly states that the contractor or the payment to the contractor should be done 28 days after the issuance of the interim payment certificate. And then so I took a screenshot, I printed it, then I took a screenshot, and then I called the QS from the contractor, and I said, this is what the contract says, it's 28 days, and that's what I prepare my certification towards that regard. And he was like, oh, okay. So I guess I must have misinterpreted it wrongly, But I was like, that's fine. It happens a lot, So the point is, sometimes when these things happen, some people are like, oh, you're trying to be smart, huh? So, some people they escalate it, but you need to be able to know where to get the right information from. If you know where you can get the right information from, then you confidently, handle it in a professional way. Not to escalate it, not to make the other person feel bad because he's made a mistake, but just say, look, we have something to guide us. True. There's no need for us to go start, pointing fingers. Let's just look at what's the guiding principle, and this is what the contract says. I
would like to test your memory here. Which contract type was that?
so it's a bespoke FIDIC.
Bespoke, okay.
Bespoke FIDIC yellow book contract. So
I'm astonished from the bespoke project you find the term, because it's not easy. Because it's not standard, right?
No, it's like, it's not standard. It's like a make do of.
Exactly.
Out of that.
Exactly. So I'm impressed that you have read all of these.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, the QS. It's important to read every single line. You can't just skip any line. We all know this. You can't skip the moment you begin to skip lines.
But our audience don't know this is why I bring this.
That's why we are having this discussion to share.
True. The moment you begin to skip lines as a quantity surveyor, you set yourself up for
not only the lines, but you need to read between the lines.
Yeah, of course.
First time it's making sense.
Yeah. And then, of course, you need to make use of whatever guidance notes you have, especially from your company or from RICS. So pretty much I tell people the quantity surveyor, because, when you ask Saady before, what's quantity surveying, right?
Yeah.
But people need to understand that the quantity surveying is an art and science profession. So what do we mean by an art science, by science profession? By science, we mean that your ability to analyze, your ability to quantify objects and to put cost to it. Calculating, those analytical, scientific aspect. Then the art aspect is your ability to be creative, to be able to give good reporting of whatever calculation and then be able to give proper advice. That's the art science.
That's the best explanation, Patrick.
So that's the art part of it. So it's an art and science. And that's why, as a QS, every day of your life, you have to keep applying those two principles.
Yes,
you have to be creative in what you do, in how you quantify. You have to be creative in how you measure and how you report your reporting template and your reporting standards. So, of course, we have so many guidelines. So we always make use of the guidelines that have been provided by either our professional bodies or maybe our seniors in the industry. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's really great. Thank you for sharing that. And additionally, could you please share any maybe case study regarding when you had to see a project budget overrun?
Yeah, so...
Don't say the name, Patrick.
No, of course
We need the names, we need the dates.
So, project overrun, this is not really post-contract, but it's more of pre-contract, where it's a project budget overrun between two stages of design.
Okay.
So a concept design was prepared for a job I worked on. It's a private client, private hospital. So the concept was set at about 270 million dirhams, I think. And then when I came on board, I prepared the schematic design, and it went to as high as 320 million. And then that was about from 360 to 320. That's about 60 million more over the budget. So that was really a big cause of concern.
Yes.
So ideally, it looks like what's happening here, guys. Yeah. So I had to organize a meeting with the client and then propose to him the options available to see how we can actually bring back the cost into the budget. So I gave him options like value engineering, scope review, to review the scope, because ideally what really caused the increase in the cost was there was an additional area from what they had at concept. So the client wanted almost a 6,000 meters square of area added to the previous design. So that really took the project up. So gave him some other options like changing his procurement route, because he was thinking of going to a traditional route where he gets to control the design. I said, look, if you go with design and build, that way we can push the responsibility of designing to the contractor
side.
Yeah, yes, and ensure that he keeps it within your budget.
Responsibility and risk too, Patrick.
Yeah, of course. But the client did not accept that, because he wanted to keep control of the design, because he wanted to maintain the quality, the standard, the quality of the hospital. He like a benchmark. He wants to compare with other similar kind of projects.
Yes.
But the moment you push it to the contractor, he gets to design and use whatever quality he feels is okay to meet your budget. So that's one of the ways. So I proposed these solutions to the client, and the client saw reason in most of them, and then took a step back to review their budget and have a discussion in-house with the board members. So yeah, it was a big achievement for me. So
Good job, Patrick. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
So that's it. Yeah. So yeah, that's
interesting story.
yeah, it is.
And situation as well.
Yeah, it was tough then, but it's okay now.
And I'm curious, Ali, in your opinion, what is the success mantra for becoming a good quantity surveyor?
Becoming a good quantity surveyor is the mantra you want. You should work hard and you should work smart, is what Saady he told.
Yeah.
It's not only a hard work which pay you off and become a very good, in your success in your career or something.
Correct, yeah.
But you need to be smart in the work. When you're going morning, waking up and you're taking a bus and you're going for the work. When you start your system, you should know, okay, what I need to do. Like a Plan-Sys software, it is introduced. So you need to use all kind of softwares and all. You need to learn the new things, the new technology, because now this construction now complex. It is very complex. New construction buildings are coming. New structures the client want to attract the investors and all.
You need to
So
keep yourself
now this
updated.
industry it is very complex. Now the complex projects it is coming. It is not like before. If you say 25 years before, it's okay. I'm building my one villa, G+1 villa, 4 bedroom, and 3 washroom, and that's all. My one family, it is living over there. No, it is not like that. Now the industry, it is changed. Now they adopt so much technology. Before, like G+1 villa, you are going to build maybe in 2 years. Now in 2 years time, you need to build the Burj Khalifa also. So, and maybe after 10 years or 20 years, they'll ask you to build 10 Burj Khalifa in 2 years time. So this industry, it is very complex. New technologies are coming, new skills are, it is introduced. So this is what the mantra it is. You need to be like equally, you need to walk with the technology and you need to introduce in your day-to-day life and all. Like, let's say, for example, I'll just give you an example for myself. Like only like 5-6 years before, I worked as a pre-contractor. I worked in the estimation department. So in that, we just like using a plan swift for the quantity takeoffs, and we are using one normal Excel, like Microsoft Excel. We are using it for the pricing. But now, that is not enough, because like for the Excel, Microsoft Excel, if let's say if a small building, you can use it, okay, it's fine, no problem. But now the technology advanced, it demands more. The time is money.
True.
The
So this is what
expectations are there.
the expectation of the client, it is more. And what like the time limit for the submission of the tenders and all, there is so much pressure you will be having to submit the tender, the accurate price in very minimal time. So this is what a market demands, and you need to be very advanced. So like our company, they have introduced like Candy software, CCS.
Yeah, costing.
So I didn't know that initially. What is Candy? Then I have learned myself.
Something I can
I've
eat.
seen like I've seen some videos and I've learned myself. I practice myself, and now I'm good in Candy and Plan Swift. So this is what like, and also this is learning the new things and new softwares and all. It will cut off your time also. Like before, like okay, I was taking quantity from the Plan Swift, I was putting in Excel. It was taking maybe 10 days. Now using Candy and Plan Swift together, I can cut short like 5 days, and I can submit the tender in 5 days. So that means in 10 days time, I can work on 2 tenders.
Yeah.
Or maybe in future, after 10 years, maybe the new software may comes in this market. Maybe in 10 days time, I can submit like 10 projects.
Your client is listening, Ali. Be very careful. I hope you keep the margin.
And one more thing, like what I want to add one more things to my listener, like you need to develop your own skills also. Like this is not only a software which will going to help you. There is some like skills also. When you submitted one project, if you're working was a pre-contract or post-contract, whatever it is, whatever you have submitted, just analyze this particular project. How much you have, what is the budget for the mechanical system? What is the budget for the electrical system? And what is the budget for the plumbing systems? For let's say, for example, for the residential building. And take an account for the hospital also, take an account for the commercial building also, for all this. By the time after 10 years, 20 years, you will going to see a comparison also. Okay, in 2010, I've spent this much on this particular material. But in 2020, I have spent this much. So how much it will going to increase in next 10 years?
You can use it as a benchmark.
Yeah, as a benchmark. This is for your own thing only. It will not going to benefit anybody else but yourself only. It will going to benefit you only.
Very true.
Yeah. So always keep an account for all the projects. Study all the projects very carefully, and just make an account. Just make a comparison like each and every project. Project by project, you will learn so many things. So this is what my advice to the listeners.
Very true.
Yeah, great. And Saady, do you think there are any misconceptions about the profession that you would like to clear up right now for our listeners?
There are many. There are many misunderstandings actually that people have about quantity surveying. I can't just name all of them, but I think the one and the biggest one is quantity surveying is all about just takeoff, which is not true, and I'm sure these two guys going to agree. This is the first misunderstanding. Second could be quantity surveying is not the industry for women. This is not true at all.
Good to hear.
Thank you. And then some people compare the quantity surveyor with land surveyor. They confuse between these professional, which is also not true. And then maybe a quantity surveyor is a profession who work always on a site. I think this is also not
only
true.
in construction.
Or quantity survey is only involved in construction because it's maybe AEC, architecture, engineering, construction, oil and gas and aviation. There's so many industries.
Yeah,
we'll see quantity survey literally everywhere. So there are many misunderstandings about
pretty
it.
much anywhere you need costing and estimation to be done, you need the service of a quantity surveyor.
That's why I said cost consultant. Now you
Yeah.
agree, huh?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. And Patrick, would you like to explain the process of cost planning and how you implement it into your work?
So cost planning is a tool which we use to allocate budgets to various elements of a construction project during the design stage. The aim is to ensure to control the design. The design is done or is being done within the budget of the client. So ideally, depending on the stage I'm working on in terms of cost plan, maybe it's concept, schematic, or detailed design. So if it's schematic, for example, or concept, the first thing I normally do is to carry out an area schedule, and then I carry out that area schedule using the following the rules of RICS, code of measuring practice, to measure the GIA and the GFAs. That's the first thing to do, because you want to see if the area from the previous design has changed, has been altered, if there's an addition, or that's like your first point of contact. Or if there's a difference in the area, then you begin to know, there's most likely going to be a difference in the budget from the last stage of design and now. So then after that, I use the NRM1 to prepare the cost plan, the rules set out by RICS in the new rule of measurement for estimation and cost planning of capital projects. So we use that to prepare. I use that to prepare the cost plan, following elemental wise, substructure, superstructure, down to external works and the like. So, and then when that's done, so depending on the stage of which I am in terms of design stage, so if it's schematic, I take my cost plan and I compare with what was done before at concept design, and then elemental wise side by side to see what the variances are, and then explain or give answer to the question why, in terms of why is this variance, why do we have plus, why do we have negative, why do we have more on this, like as your concrete volume has increased, if it's your superstructure, your frame.
And comparing with the benchmarking.
Yeah. So you do that, and then MEP also, you can say, the HVAC system.
Yeah, services are high.
Yeah, so things like that. You do a comparison check between both, and then we propose or we present to the client, give a proper cost reporting. So if it's in a case where the cost plan is more, the schematic cost plan is more than the concept cost plan, you give areas of opportunity to save some money. So you propose some kind of value engineering exercise. So value engineering is not just about so it's where we're looking at getting the best value but at the cheapest cost. So it's not just to reduce the cost, but you want to maintain the value.
True.
Yes.
You want to
Best
maintain
definition,
important.
because
Exactly.
not many people are familiar with that.
So for example, this studio, imagine if the studio with the original design, the walls were made of for example, the walls were made of gold, right? And then gold per square meter is so much money. So the point is, we want to value engineer the wall. So we simply change from gold to paint.
Yeah.
Painting the wall rather than using a gold finish. The point is, there's a finish.
Exactly.
That's the value. You're maintaining the value of the finish, but then at the cheaper cost of using a paint instead of gold. So that's the whole idea of
Cost planning.
Cost planning and how you can
That's
implement.
a great example. Thank you.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned, the industry is ever evolving. There are so many variables in it. Ali, how would you say you keep yourself updated with the prices, current pricing of materials and labor?
Okay. It's very interesting questions actually about the labor and material. I'll start with the labor first.
Sure.
Labor, it depends on mostly the productivity, like how productive your people are for the work. Let's say, for example, I'm installing a duct. So how much time my people is consuming to install the per square meter of the duct. So this depends on the productivity, the weather, how much the weather outside. Here we are working almost 47 to 50 degrees Celsius. If the same people, they'll go and work in some European or some US countries and all, their productivity, they're more productive. I'm not saying there will be productivity will be more or less, but of course, because of some circumstances, the productivity in those countries will be more compared to here. So we need to see the productivity, what is the productivity of this country and what is the productivity of some other countries. I'll recommend to my listeners to one very good book. It's Spawns. The name of the book is Spawns. It's a blue color book.
Yeah.
There is so many colors. It is there for the civil. There is I think orange color, and for structures there is yellow color. For especially for the MEP works, there is a blue color spons book. It's prepared by AECOM. It's a very good consultant, and depend upon area or area, depending upon the countries, they'll give the productivity of each and every people. So if you go through that book and all, it will give you a very good reference to calculate how much man hours you need to consider for installing the duct, for installing the pipe, and depending upon the size of the pipe, how much labor you will consume it. So this always I'll take in my account to calculate the productivity of the labor and to calculate the total man hours of the labor. So this is how I'll like manage about the labor. And if you come to the material part, of course, like I'll tell you my example. Like before COVID in 2019 and all, the chilled water pipes for 20 mm, I used to get like 6 dirhams only. Per meter length, it was 6 dirhams. Now I'm getting like 13 or 14 dirhams.
Oh,
So this much change. Like you can imagine how much extra it is there.
Yes.
And if you have like a quotation from 2019 or 18, and if you are using the same rates, it's you're out of the budget. The client will happy to give you the project.
But the very last project.
Yeah. So this is the thing. Like every month, I'll not say every day. Every month, the steel price, the copper pipes, the metal price and all, it is changing.
So you mainly need to stay updated.
You need to be updated. Like you need to make a very comparison sheet. We call it as a QCS. It's a quotation comparison sheet. You need to make it in Excel or somewhere for your reference. You need to see, okay, in 2019 December, this was the price, and currently in June 2023 we are in. You need to send the inquiry to the specialist, and you need to get the quotation. You need to be updated in your system. So this is how you can update yourself for the material side.
Yeah, keeping up to date with the cost data
exactly.
available in the
So
industry.
This is what the things you need to do. It value engineering and all, it is a separate thing. But for the material and labor, you need to make this actually should be accounted in such a way so that, because it will going to give you the benefit.
Yes.
You are the one who will get the benefit in the long-term process. If you, let's say, for example, I'm here in this industry for next 10 years. So if I want to go to the past in the history and I want to see compare the price and all, so I will know, okay, how much the price has been increased, and I can forecast for next 10 years also. So this is what I am personally is doing it, and I recommend everyone to do the same thing.
Absolutely. It might take some steps, but the result of it will be good.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, that's great. And for our listeners right now who are hearing our conversation and are interested in this profession of quantity surveyor, Saady, what do you think qualifications are needed to become a quantity surveyor?
Well, I can just share my own personal opinion. I think there are 3 routes. This is how I divide it. The first and the fastest route and direct route is getting a degree, doing a quantity surveying degree. Either it's a bachelor's or MSc, doing a degree, and then straight away you enter into industry. This is what Patrick did. The second one is get any relative degree like a mechanical engineering and civil engineering and get few years of experience, and you're ready to be a quantity surveyor. That's what I did.
Absolutely.
The third and the hardest one, you stay where you jump to the industry, you get experience for 5 to 10 years of experience without any certification, without any degree. It's the toughest one. That's what I did. But then I realized that education is really important. I was studying, but master's in IT. But I realized I really need to know more about construction industry. So I returned back to the university and I did another one, MSc in quantity surveying. So I think these are the 3 routes, in my opinion.
Yeah, just to add to that, I mean, depending on for the base of our listeners, depending on geographical region where you're coming from.
Very true.
Yeah, you need to check what your country or your region has in place. What are the qualifications? What are the requirements on how to become a quantity surveyor? Because there are some places, there are some countries where even though you have the degree from the university as a quantity surveyor, you still need to be part of a professional body before you can actually practice and have your own firm and your own company. So
accredited, chartership, and all of this.
But for me or for most people, I mean, for the UK, we've got the RICS, which I think is the most important qualification a quantity surveyor should aim to get, because it gives you a global recognition, and then you can practice anywhere in the world.
Great.
Yeah, because there are some region, like I said, it's recognized globally.
Yeah.
So you could get the qualification from one region, but you might not be able to practice in this region because of regional differences. But for the RICS, that's not the case. You're recognized everywhere. You can set up your own practice anywhere you want. So, and then of course the RICS have different pathways which you can use to become a member. Likewise, every other geographical and regional professional bodies that look after the quantity surveying. So
that's nice. Thanks. And Patrick, returning to the topic, could you explain to us, me and our listeners, what is the procurement strategy and what types of the strategies there are?
So ideally, there are many types of procurement strategy, but I don't want to go too much.
But help us understand what procurement strategy is and why we should choose one.
So procurement strategy is how you want to procure, how you want to get the job done. So how you want to carry out this project. Okay, so we've got the client's objective, and then we after we know what the client objective is, we analyze that, and then we say, okay, how do we want to carry out this job?
Defining the role, responsibility, and risk of each stakeholder, right?
So yes, exactly. So how do we actually want to get this job done?
Exactly.
Which route or which way? So that's your strategy. Where you start to discuss the strategy, so you have to, okay, what strategy can we use to get this job done? And then when you finally decide, okay, well, these are the strategies, and then of course there are different methods of procurement. So you use those different methods to agree on the strategy you want to use to get the job. So, but then there are basic methods of procurement. We've got the traditional method of procurement. We've got the design and build procurement. We've got the management contracting, and then the construction management method. So, but the traditional method in terms of it's more of a linear method of procurement where you have the design done first. After the design, you get the costing, then you get the tender, then you get the construction. Each phase has to be done before the next phase begins. But then in terms of design and build, this is where you have the design and the construction going in parallel. So and then of course the different procurement
based
strategy
on the preference also of the client.
Exactly. Different procurement strategy have got different, like you said before, different risk apportioned to various parties. So you've got the client who bears a lot of risks. If it's a traditional method, he bears the risks on the design. So if there's any kind of design risks, because he's keeping the design, he's in control of the design. So whatever risk in terms of the design, he bears the risk. But the construction risk is being handled by the contractor. But for the design and build, the contractor takes over the risk responsibility of the client.
Design, construction, and buildability.
And everything.
Exactly.
But the client is just there to provide.
Funds.
Of course, he still has his own responsibilities anyway. But the idea of procurement strategy is, the important point we need to pick out is that we need to apportion risks in terms of procurement strategy to the best party who is in position to handle it. So ideally, the architect is the one who does the design, so he should bear the design risks, right? So you shouldn't say, oh, architect, I know you do the design, but the quantity surveyor will bear the risks for design failures. So because the quantity surveyor is not the best person to handle that, so he shouldn't be apportioned that kind of risk. So procurement strategy, it's those are the four major types I can really talk about now. We've got more GMP, we've got PPE, special vehicle, SPV, special purpose vehicles. We've got partnership, public-private. So different. There are so many of them out there. So, but procurement as a quantity surveyor, you need to be, and then you need to understand the risk element to which method you choose over the other one. So.
And always for the procurement strategy, like for the fast track projects and all, you're putting MEP as a provisional sum.
Even to today, some places, where even there are some regions in the world where when it comes to either the BOQ or the cost plan, the MEP is just one item mechanical one item, electrical one item.
That's all. Like this
That's
is
all.
what like it's your baby. You need to
Yeah.
like develop it from your own. We don't know all this, and always putting the what you say the risk on the contractor's head.
Yeah.
This is what I like a procurement strategy I've seen like especially for the fast track projects and all.
It's
which
really
has
a
to be,
strategy.
It's a very good strategy actually.
Yeah, but what we do here now is in terms of MEP, we try to apportion, when we're preparing the cost plan now, design stage, we tend to use this cost per square meter as a result of benchmark rates to be able to predict or to forecast what amount of HVAC system we will need for a room. So that's why I say the first thing you need to do as a QS to tackle a cost plan is to prepare the area schedule, because that area schedule will help the MEP to build up its own cost estimates for the services for that buildings.
Ali, could you give us some insight into how quantity surveying differs for residential versus commercial projects?
Yeah, it differs a lot. Like if you are talking about a residential building and if you are talking about a commercial building, like there is so much difference. Let's say, for example, I'll just give you an example for the residential building. So like my manager, he used to say, okay, it's only a residential building, G+20 floor. It will not take much time, but not for the commercial one. Commercial one, it's in hotel projects.
Yeah.
It's a 5-star hotel, 3-star hotel, 4-star hotel, hospitals. It can be anything. So for that, you need to be very take care of what you're using it. Let's say for sanitary waste.
Quality.
The quality of the sanitary waste, like you can go you are going to buy one wash basin. So for residential building, maybe it will cost 500 dirhams. Yeah. And for a hotel, maybe it will cost 10,000 dirhams.
Yeah.
So this is what a difference. Light fittings for the hotels, we know that, like how much extra it will come. And for the residential building and all, okay, it will not be cost that much, maybe 60 or 100 dirhams maximum.
So what if it's a mixed-use construction project? What do you do?
Mixed-use development, you need to be divided again into what is the residential part and what is the commercial part.
Okay. So two different approaches.
Two different approaches. That is the most difficult one. What Patrick he has point out a mixed use development. There will be so much things and all. Let's say for example, I'll give you a residential building. We are using one thumb rule. It is called like FAT rule. FATE. Flat area tonnage electrical kilowatt. That's all. Okay. You calculate how many number of flat, you calculate what is the total square meter of the area, you calculate the total tons of refrigeration required, you calculate the total kilowatt of the building. I can give you like for one residential building in 10 minutes. What will it will cost like a total MEP works. So this is what like for the residential building. But it is not in the case of the commercial one. Commercial one, it's like you need to study more. You need to study the design. You need to like between the line what you Saady has like discussed. Like my manager, he always used to say that when you're reading a specification, you need to be very carefully because between the lines there is something which may cost you millions.
Yeah, correct.
Exactly.
It will be like it will cost you millions for that particular building only because of that particular word. Yeah. So that's where the specification for the construction, it's the most important. It is more than important to the drawings, the specification and the contract. So always you need to read yourself. You should have habit to read it. Like okay, what the specification is demanding, what is the contract it is saying. So because the preference for the client, it is more to the specification and more to the values rather than to the drawings. Rather than to the BOQ. Yeah. So this is what you can differentiate between residential and commercial one.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. And it sounds like quantity surveying is such a complex and intricate field. So, Saady, what do you think is your approach to constant learning and professional development in this field?
Well, there are many ways, and it's totally depending on the individual how they really see it. But main is I keep myself curious to learn more and keep myself updated. So you try my best to attend as many CPDs as I can, workshops, seminars, keep the discussion with the industry experts, know their opinion, follow the industry trends, and follow the leaders and institutes like RICS, AIQS, and there are many other. So try to read the publications. There are newspaper that really helps because you have to cost accordingly. What if there is a war? What if the pandemic? You have to consider. So it really matters, all of these things.
Absolutely.
So I'm trying my best to keep myself updated. This is the quickest answer.
Yeah, no, that's great. And Patrick, how do you manage risk in your projects?
So again, risk management it's a big topic. It's not something I can.
We have the most difficult questions here in this podcast.
It's a big topic, but I'll just try to keep it as generic as possible. So ideally, risk management is something you incorporate as early as possible at the design stage, or as early as possible at the commencement stage of any project. So pretty much at the strategic definition stage, you have to start talking about what are the risks involved in actually doing the job, even before we even get it designed, even before we even know what the outcome of the project will be. We need to start talking about risks right from the inception stage. So if, for example, the client has got some client require, he's got some objective or purpose to carry out the project, and then he gets his team together, the client team together, and then in the bid of them giving him a business case to support his project, they have to talk about the risk involved in him actually carrying out this project. Does the project require a new building, or does it require the refurbishment of an existing building? There have to be some risk elements that has been attached to it, and say, what are the things that will not allow you carry out this job, or what are the things that will impede, or what are something you cannot avoid. You just have to face it head on. So this is where you now have to look at methods on how do we undo these risks.
And I really agree, Patrick, with you, because we have to do the risk management regardless of a project type, smaller or bigger, and as early as possible. Can you just list down 4 or 5 risks? What do you think the main risks are?
So ideally, we've got client risk, and then of course, what are the client risks when the client doesn't?
You mean budget or operational cost, or
no? So client risks are when the client begins to make changes during the design stage.
Okay,
so those are risks, and then because when the client keeps making changes, it affects the budget.
Do you also consider weather as a risk?
Yeah. So they are, yeah, of course.
What about design? Is it also a risk for our listener?
Yeah, of course. So we've got the client risk, we've got the construction risk, and then we've got design risks also. And then, of course, there are different types of design risks, and then there are different types of construction risks, and also client risks-based risks. So ideally, design risks are when design failures, right? So when you have a design and then it's not meeting up to the minimum requirement to achieve the purpose of the construction. So that's a risk. And then when some elements or some things are missing in the design, and then if you don't have competent quantity surveyors who should know that this element should be there.
And if you need one, he's available.
Okay. So if some elements are missing, the quantity surveyor should be able to know that, ideally we should have like a column. There should be a kind of foundation here, which is, I think this foundation is under design, or this is over design, so these are examples of design risks, of course. But how do you manage these risks now? These are the methods.
Risk mitigation and all of this, that matters.
Yeah, it's either you mitigate, how do you mitigate, do we
propose solutions accordingly?
Yeah, so how do we transfer this risk to another party? If it's a client risk, okay, he can decide to transfer. You don't
need to resolve, you just need to transfer.
Yeah, you can transfer. No, the idea is to transfer to the party who is in the better position to handle it, right? So that's when
transferring to risk, he's pointing at me.
Yeah, we'll push it to the MEP. We blame the MEP. We blame the service guys. We blame the MEP for everything. They are the ones that made your budget more. So you can actually transfer the risk, or you can resolve it head on, or you can minimize the risk. So those are one of the few ways you can actually mitigate. So
okay,
good
great.
Answer.
And returning back to MEP, I know we brushed over it slightly, but Ali, could you explain the importance of MEP quantity surveying in construction?
Of course, it's equally important what a civil is. MEP, it's an equally important. And it is giving a major contribution to the construction field also. What Saady, he said, initially, quantity surveying not only to take the quantities.
Yeah.
It is more than to take the quantities, because if you're talking about a quantity surveying field, it's related to the commercial field, it's related to the technical works, it's related to the quantity takeoffs also, they're reading the contracts also, specification, drawings, so many things. So okay, as a mechanical engineer, I worked as a mechanical engineer also. My work is just to go to the site and push the people to get the work done. That's all. So this is what my work is. to be honest, I was not reading any documents. I was not reading any addendums. Addendums is something like if there is any design problem, it is there, or any like amendment in the design.
Yeah.
If the client is saying like, okay, this is what an amendment is, the design, it is there.
Okay.
So based on that, the revisions will come in the design, and it has to be incorporated in your tender documents or in your construction documents. So this is what an addendum it is called. So most of the people is not reading all these contract documents, not addendums and all. So they're not aware about like how the construction is going and how this industry is flowing. So this is what a quantity surveyor is doing it. They're reading all the documents. They're having a like all the list of the addendums and everything. They're having a list of specification. They are having list of drawings. So all together, they're making like this industry to move smoothly. So
I see.
this
And
is
MEP
what,
playing a vital role in
and
it.
of course, like MEP, I'm not like pointing on the MEP only. Either it can be a civil or structure, or it can be MEP, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, anything, any field you're working in. So it's a wide range and wide opportunity you are having it. So like, so this is what I'm saying it like
I
as
see.
an MEP quantity surveyor, I'm very blessed to be what I am now.
Yeah,
Okay,
just
that's
that's
great.
very good. They're very good, Ali. But just to give support to what Ali has said, and then for the sake of our viewers also, I know time is going, but we have other MEP quantity surveyors. It's not just civil or MEP.
Yeah.
We've got those who are majoring in landscape construction,
Exactly.
infrastructure. We also have those
Interior, joinery.
in IT, in ID, interior. So a lot of companies who do interior decoration, they have QSs working for them. Those who measure their finishes and prepare their tender documents. So depending on where you are working, you as long as you are giving estimation, you can be a QS for that industry.
Okay.
know,
I
so-
see.
Exactly.
So
That's nice. Okay, thank you. And I'm sure my next question, a lot of listeners are wondering about it. Saady, how much can a QS earn?
yes.
Okay,
How
it's
much?
We need
Let
a
me see if
number.
Maybe I go ask for a
We need
pay
receipts.
rise.
I understand this question completely because so many people even ask me on Instagram and Facebook, other social media platforms. So to be honest, earning really depends on various aspects. And also there are so many websites on social media. If you just search how much QS earn, you will see one website says this and that number. So I do not agree with any of this because it totally depends. Let me give you a quick example. A senior QS working in a smaller company may earn, 5,000. I've seen many. And just a graduate QS working in a bigger organization earning 10 plus. I'm talking about AED. So it's totally, first thing, it depends the organization where you're working and what's their budget. This is the first thing. But, organization is not only the one thing that really affect or, increase your income. The second is passive income. This is the industry that can help you to, work freelance. There's so many websites, Fiverr, Upwork, Freelance, Guru, so many. You can earn passive and it really pay well. And apart from that, if you're really skilled, you can register and open your own consultancy firm, and then skies are the limit. Earn as much you can.
Get your own projects, you have your own clients,
Yeah.
you service them and all. Yeah.
Okay, that's a great answer. And Patrick, how does your typical workday looks like?
So this is where we
People
see.
want to know your routine.
People want to know.
The life
People want
in
to
the day
know
of a
how
quantity
much
surveyor.
and what do
Okay.
they need to do.
Start from 8 a.m., Patrick.
So I get to work by 8. First thing I do is I go through my mails and see if there's any mail I need to respond to, client mails or colleague or co-workers or mails from management or mails from my senior QS. Then I continue with whatever tasks I have doing. If I'm either preparing a cost plan or preparing a PT. So currently I'm preparing a PT, 13 PTs. So it's a lot. But then, so I use my day-to-day activities, I use Costex. And Costex is it's a wonderful tool.
Plansword is also good.
Yeah, Plansword is good. Well,
It is just personal choice.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Because the beauty of Costex, the advantage of Costex is in Costex you have your data all in one place. You do your measurements, you do your workbook, and then your measurements are linked to your workbook. You don't have a segmentation of where you have measurements here, takeoff here, and then reporting here. You can do all that incorporated in Costex. So, and then of course,
And it's slow too. Let's
yeah,
just move forward.
so yeah, it's a wonderful tool. So I carry out my activity either on Costex or any other platform which I use. Then yeah,
Okay.
pretty much that's it. Just a day, just another
Just
day
another day.
of doing a QS in. So
Awesome. Okay.
of course, there might be times where I need to attend some meetings, either
Yeah.
online meetings or in-person meetings. So yeah, it's pretty much.
Absolutely, thanks. And I understand that a lot of projects and very different in the construction industry, but I think our listeners would be interested about that one as well. Ali, could you tell us how do you usually handle the stress and pressure that is often associated with project deadlines and stuff like that in construction?
Stress question to the right guy, working at the contractor's QS. Go ahead.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So as a contractor side, like it's the job is more stressful, and of course, like you need to meet the deadline because the client they'll ask for the price maybe in 1 week time.
Absolutely.
So you need to like, of course, the client is the one who is paying it to you.
Yeah.
So you need to make them happy. So the QS those who are working in the contract. So for that, the deadlines is very, very important. Like you need to meet your deadlines and all. And of course, by the time it is very challenging and stressful also. So how I'm managing my stress, I'm always doing yoga.
Oh, wow,
Not at the
interesting.
workplace, but after the work, when I'm going home in the weekends and all, always like at least like there's one yoga, Indian yoga, like pranayam. You need to like
That's
take
a successful
inhale
mantra.
it. Yeah, exactly. So always try that. You need to inhale it, just relax for like almost like 1 minute or something like that, or just inhale it out. If you go in the YouTube, you will find so many videos and all.
Interesting.
Definitely gonna
this
look
is
it
how
up.
this is how I'm managing my stress. And for the deadlines and all, of course, like you need to be very accurate. Like you need to have a project. Okay, like if it is a residential buildings and all, I have explained already before. So you need to be quick in estimation. Like you cannot use an old method what you're using it before. No, you need to be like very quick in estimation, and you need to be smart at the work. Okay, like one of the rule I have already explained when we are making the Nobel QS. In one of our lecture, we have one section in that we have discussed about like indirect cost, value engineering, thumb rules and all. We call it as a thumb rule, like based on this much flat, based on this much area, based on this much tonnage of refrigeration, this much kilowatt. Okay, this is how then approximate the building it will cost. This is what will be the total value of the MEP works. So you need to be little smart in the work to manage the deadlines and all. So this is what you're like.
So Ali, one quick question. So you have deadlines, right? So what if you have your own firm, your own QS firm, your own MEP QS firm, and then a client comes and says, "Oh, please, I need you to do this estimate for me, but I need it in 2 weeks." But to do a proper estimate, for example, for a high-rise building, you need about 1 month, right?
Yes.
Are you going to accept that job and say, "Yeah, I'll deliver in 2 weeks"?
Yeah.
Will you accept the job?
Of course, I'll accept it because this construction, if I'm not doing it, somebody else will do it.
Yes.
So this is what like market it is.
Yeah,
like,
but then the danger is if ideally you need 1 month to do a perfect estimate, and then now you want to use 2 weeks to do perfect, you're going to stretch your resources first of all, and then that's where you
start the yoga as soon as possible.
I'll tell you an example. Like I think last month only there was one project came and the client won the price in 2 weeks time. So it is not possible to send the inquiry, get the proper quotations for each and every item, and give the proper estimate.
But that does not make room for errors in your estimate.
Exactly. So, this is what you make errors when you are estimating the things and all. When a deadline it is short.
So that means that professionally wise, that's not a good way. You don't accept project because the idea is you want to maintain the professional standard, right? So if you take a job that should be done for 1 month and then it's done in 2 weeks, you say you're going to do it in 2 weeks, but it's literally not possible to finish it accurately in 2 weeks. Don't you think it's going to affect like the professional standard?
Yeah, of course it can be, but like what you are doing is, let's say for example 3 people was working for one project for 1 month, you put 6 people to finish the deadline in 15 days. So this is what we have done like last month in one of our projects. Like I was the one who was handling like complete mechanical system. There is one person who is working for the the electrical works. So this is how we have divided. Doing completely one person as an MEP, we have divided into mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. We have distributed the work. We have finished it in 2 weeks. And yes, of course, like if like you will, of course, like team work, like we are working as a team. So we can finish the task in a more precise and accurate way rather than doing individual alone, everything together, everything individual alone. So this is what like
exactly. And in your sport, Patrick, you know the main objective of contractors, profit.
Yeah, of course.
You shouldn't
Of
ask this
course.
question.
Contractors will always say yes, they can do everything. So I know I worked for a contractor, so they always, yeah, we can do it, we can do it.
The first thing what for pre-contract when any tender comes for the contractor, the first thing we are going to ask what is the area of this particular building. That's all.
That's the first thing.
This is the first question. And what is the timing? Like whether it has to be finished in 2 years or 3 years. What is the project duration and all? These two questions. It's a very common you will see in all the RFIs. RFI, it's a request for the information. Every contractor who is anyone who is like working for the contractor, these two questions is a must ask question to every contractor.
Okay, great. And Saady, in your perspective and from your point of view, what do you think define a successful project?
Successful project can be measured by, cost, time, and quality. These are the three main pillars. But of course, it's about the client and his preference, what he values the most. Just to take an example, if it's Burj Khalifa, in my opinion, I'm not claiming it, but in my opinion, I don't think so. The cost was the client's priority. It's all about time and quality. So it's about client's preference. But of course, the three pillars are time, cost, and quality. That's how you measure the success of a project.
Okay,
So that's it. That means a project that's done within the budget, on that duration, and also achieve the client's aim.
Expectations,
qualifications.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, great. And Patrick, could you describe some situations when you would be dealing with other professionals in the industry, like architects, engineers? Like, what would be these situations?
So ideally, I started my career working for architects. So I communicated a lot with architects. So so communication methods. I mean, one-on-one talks, phone calls, emails. So with architects, working for architects really opened a new a new window of view for me into the quantity surveying. So I understand how to use a lot of these architectural softwares, whether it's BIM and whether it's AutoCAD and Navisworks, name whatever architectural software there in the field. So, but then I could have only achieved this if I communicated properly to the architects. So because as a QS, my idea, my thinking is all about cost, but the architect's thinking is all about designing. So you need to be able to understand where the architect is coming from and what are the aims he needs to achieve, and then properly, then you can see how you can communicate your ideas to him, either to extract information or to get him to do what you want to do. So communicating with architects, communicating with engineers on site, of course, you have to have a good communication skills. Speak gently and clearly and respectfully. So
your professionalism.
Yeah. So of course, and being someone who really wants to be get an RICS member, so I use the tips of RICS code of conduct to have a proper communication with professionals. So,
Great, thank you. And Ali, how do you usually approach cost management in your projects?
Cost management, I'll just will not go into details. The cost management is something related to the material. It's something related to the labor, preliminaries, overhead, profits. Like if you are constructing a building, and if you are a contractor, of course you need to be profitable at the end. Like you are not doing something for the free for the industry. Of course, you need to be profitable. Of course. So this is what a challenging for the cost management. When you are pricing for the material, you should know as per the current market situation how much discount you can get it, because for the pre-contract and all those who have worked for the pre-contract, if you ask to if you got the quotation and you put in your pricing, and if you call to the supplier, they're not going to say you, okay, this much discount I'm going to give you. No supplier is doing that, and no contractor is doing that, and they'll tell to the client, okay, this much discount I'll give you. No, because like discount is something you need to be like imagine. Okay, it comes based on your experience only, not to the imagination. Like let's say for example, if I got an quotation for the AC units, I know that okay, based on the current market price on this particular quotation, I can get maybe 20 to 25% discount, depending upon the vendors. So this is the things I need to take care in the cost management when I am pricing for the material. And the labor, of course, like I have seen for the labor also, we need to use the productivity rates for the cost management and all. Based on this productivity rates, we can calculate the total number of labors. Overheads and profits, it's dependent upon your organization.
So many aspects.
Yeah, it can be like
absolutely.
4%, 5%. Some contractors may go for the 8 to 10% also. Preliminaries is something, it involves to the insurance, mobilization, and
Security,
so many aspects. Like,
bonds and so many things.
yeah, so like the porta cabin, when you are building constructing a building, so you need to keep your like engineers and all some porta cabins over there. This all comes into preliminaries. So this you need to be take care in your mind. Of course, like you cannot imagine something. Okay, this much it will cost, but based on the project value, based on the past experience, okay, you will know like okay, it will come maybe 8 to 10% of the total project values. So this is how you need to manage your cost.
Okay, great, thanks. And Saady, in your opinion, how does the quantity surveying differs between client side and the contractor's one?
Difference between Ali and Patrick.
This is the difference. Ali and Patrick.
Yeah, right.
That's without even saying a word, I can explain. That's the difference. But I think
Very visual.
visually you can see that. So clients QS usually, typically they involve in a project at a very early stages, and of course it depends on the procurement strategies as well. But just to give you the typical example, so the client's QS job is to prepare the cost planning, do the feasibility study, and helping the stakeholders to choose the right contract selection, or helping to choose the right procurement strategy, and all of these activity. Cutting into short, when you go to the contractor side, the perspective, of course, he need to maximize the profit, but his responsibilities start after the contract is signed. So his job is to prepare the BOQ, all-in rate calculation, labor, machinery, and equipment, as Ali said, payment certificate, so all of these things. And I think all of these details we have covered in our courses, because we cannot explain all in one go. So these details are available in Noble Quantity Surveying courses, in MEP, in civil, and even other courses. So I think these courses will help people to understand better.
Yeah, just to add to that, the client QS can also be a consultant QS.
That's what I'm saying.
So yeah, it could be a consultant QS. So yeah, so
I understand.
okay. All right.
Great. And Patrick, could you please walk us through the typical process of a project you would usually work on?
Project I work on, process.
Yeah.
So depends now, because I currently work in pre and post contract. So so ideally for post contract, as an example, where I prepare the payment certificate. So the first thing, when I receive the application from the client, from the contractor or the contractor's QS, his interim payment application, I go through it. I'll go through his application. I look at what he's applied, what he's claiming for the month done, for the work done for the previous month. Then, of course, he usually submits his drawings. So I go through the drawings also. I have a look at the marked up drawings of the work done. And then I give him a call to acknowledge that I've seen the application. And then I'm going to have a look at it and prepare it. So then I arrange a day that is ideal for me to come to site to assess the work that he's done based on the marked up drawing and based on his application. So I come to the site prepared with talking points, or especially areas that I feel that high cost drivers. So I really want to see what's been done. So I go around the site, or of course, ideally, when I get to the site, I have to ask for the health and safety professional, so that to give me like a induction for site safety. I report to the site, then I get my PPE, my helmet, and my vest. and then before I can have access to the site. So, and then I walk through the site with my marked up drawings, confirming what has work done and all. Then at the end of the day, I have an agreement with the contractor's QS, and then I go back to the office, prepare my certification, and have him go through, prepare my recommendation, then have him agree on the recommendation prepared, and then when it's done, then I prepare my certificate and then send it off to the client. So,
Okay.
so that's how I work in post-contract
Okay,
jobs.
great.
So, yeah.
And from your stories, being a quantity surveyor is absolutely rewarding. But I'm wondering, if you were not a QS, what would you be? And it's a question for everybody.
Okay.
So if Ali, you would like to start?
In my childhood, I wanted to be a pilot.
Ooh, nice.
If not a QS, then a teacher.
I can see that.
Okay. For me, if not a QS, I would have been a priest.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Noble. Noble profession.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, and Patrick, I know we talked a little bit about the future and how construction evolves all the time, but what future do you see for quantity surveying with all these new advancements such as BIM and other technologies?
I mean, the QS is one of the professions which I think the AI can never take out. You know, can never kick out of the spotlight, because you still need to be able to consult people, real people, who have the ability to be creative. AI doesn't really have the ability to be creative now yet, you know. So you need people who have that ability to be creative, to give you answer for a particular problem. So the future of quant surveying is very, very bright. I mean, it's one of those professions where you cannot remain in QS for so long. The profession on itself is an evolving profession. You can either evolve to become a project manager, or you could go become a commercial manager. You know, you can't stay QS for so long, because you've acquired this much skills and then this much experience, and then you see yourself, you know, evolving. You know, so that's one of the good things about the profession. So the future, even with the BIM and with the AI, it's still really much very hopeful and very bright. So. Yeah,
that sounds great.
Yeah,
Perfect. Yeah. And Saady, I'm curious, in your words, what is the difference between pre-contract and post-contract?
So if I simplify and in one line answer, it's pretty much before signing the contract, it's pre-tender, and after signing the contract, it's post-tender. But of course, if you just see all the activities that quantity survey need to do, like on the one side, you will see feasibility study, contract selection, procurement strategies, and you know all of these activities. On the other side, you see variation, claim, and bill of quantity payment and all, and there's a lot of details. But the line which I can draw, just to help our young professionals to understand, it's when the contract is signed.
So pretty much pre-contract is more like a design stage, and then post-contract is
execution and construction stage. Okay. When you really see a contractor on a site, you can see.
So the moment the contractor takes possession of the site, that becomes okay, perfect.
Oh, okay.
So it's a pre-tender and post-tender sitting, and I'm the line between.
Nice. Okay, and Ali, so far you shared so many amazing rules and advices. So do you have any kind of thumb rule that makes your work easier during the calculation or takeoff of the quantity?
There is so many thumb rules which is there in MEP.
I think you mentioned one already. You
like number one thumb rule I told, like it's a FAT rule. Flat area, tonnage, electrical rule.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Like I have explained in our Noble QS lecture also. If you go through that lecture and all, there are so many thumb rules I have like explained, like how you can do the quick estimate, like using a thumb rules. I'll just take a few thumb rules. The second thumb rules for time I'm like using for most of the projects is like counting a number of sprinklers for the firefighting things and all. You take like the area for the basement. You take an area for the typical flows and all. You just divide that particular area by 12 or 10. 10 to 12 is the range. Let's say, for example, you divide it by 12. You will get one value that is the number of sprinkler, which is going to use for that particular building. So this is what a thumb rule we are using it for firefighting system. And if you want the firefighting price, you just take number of sprinkler. Let's say 1,000 sprinkler it is there for that particular building. You multiply by 750. It's a one factor. You will get 750,000. It's the total value of the firefighting
Brilliant.
of that particular project.
Definitely.
So this is what a thumb rule it will help you. I will tell you
Great.
like one more thumb rule about the ducting. Ducting, we know that if it is a residential building, it will take so much time using a PlanSwift software. So let's say, for example,
any software, not only PlanSwift.
Yeah,
Ducting
any
itself.
software. You think of
I'm
any
here to
software
protect-
like taking a duct quantity, because always you need to be duct. It is changing every meters. Every 1 meter, 300 by 200. It is changed to 150 by 150, then 100 by 100. This much changes it is there for the ducts.
Okay.
I'll tell you one more like thumb rule. If you calculate the total tons of refrigeration required for that particular building, you just multiply in the range of 15 to 20. Depending upon the building, you will get the total number of square meter of the duct for the residential building.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
That's your experience.
Very helpful as well.
Yeah,
Great.
so this is what thumb rule we are using it, and so many thumb rules it is there, which I've already told, like I've explained in the Noble QS lecture also.
Great.
So which will help young professionals like in a very precise and detailed way.
That's amazing. Okay. And Saady, could you please share with us and for our audience, what is RIBA plan of works and how it relates to quantity surveying?
Okay, so RIBA plan of work is basically the guideline that is created by Royal Institute of British Architect. They basically define us a guideline or a framework for all the construction stages. If you look at there are 8 stages. So if you look at the very initial stages where it's a strategic definition and briefing, this help us, or the outcome of these stages are just to decide, should we invest in this project or not? Are we going, or is it the right solution for us? These are the only one. And then the design and all of this started. And if you look at the last 2 stages, it's handover and use. So this is where RIBA is, and it helps us to understand all the stakeholders, what the project all stages are, and it will help us to manage as well.
Okay, great. Ali, in your own words and opinions, what makes a good quantity surveyor?
Like I've explained before also, becoming a good quantity surveyor, you need to be smart in the work, and you need to keep all your documents for your reference for each project-wise project. You need to take and you need to keep the documents to study well in your future projects and all. So this is what a characteristics for the becoming a good QS.
Okay, great, thanks. And Patrick, in your opinion, what are the industries where QS has an opportunity?
Well, the first industry is the construction industry, which is more like the birthplace of the quantity surveyor. That's the best place. Construction industry was one. Then you have also the mining industry, where you can help out in giving costs for mining and any kind of required mills for mining. Also, we look at the aviation sector also, because they need some kind of estimates. Maintenance industry for the airports and all these things. Also, the oil and gas industry is one of them, because of course those rigs, those oil rigs and those refineries and the filling stations, all these things need to be quantified. So, but the birthplace of the QS is the construction industry, and from them, anywhere else where you think estimation and costing is required,
the opportunities are available.
Okay,
for the
that's
QS.
great.
Yeah.
And we spoke a little bit about the triangle of value, time, and cost. So Ali, how do you ensure that your project stays within the budget without compromising the value or the quality?
Value and quality, it is very important things for the construction projects. Like what we have discussed before about the value engineering. Value engineering, it is not something to reduce the cost, but keeping the same value. That is very important.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, for one of our projects, a stainless steel ducts was used. Stainless steel ducts in the UAE market, it will come maybe around 350 to 400 dirhams per square meter. This is what the current price for the stainless steel ducts. Ducts, it is what? just to use, just to transfer the air, it's a medium to transfer the air. So it can be stainless steel or it can be a normal GI also. GI, you will get it in the UAE market maybe 50 to 55 dirhams per square meter. So how much the range it is there, how much the cost difference it is there in the pricing if you are using for the of course, stainless steel ducts if you are doing for any industrial projects, or if you are doing any like kitchen equipment projects and all, there you need to use the stainless steel ducts. But for the normal residential building, it's only an HVAC air. It can be air conditioning or ventilation air. So normal, I think the GI duct can be enough instead of using a stainless steel. So this is how you need to be smart enough to see the specification and add to the value by reducing the cost. So this is the most important things I'll tell everyone, like who are doing for the pre-construct and of course for the post-contract also.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's amazing. Okay. And Saady, what books would you recommend for a person who wants to be a QS?
Well, there are many, but because most of our professionals are young professionals, so for them, one of them is Estimating and Tendering by Martin. And also, I recommend to study the rules of measurement. It's really helpful for them because most of them are trying to find a job. So NRM 1, 2, 3, and other standards and principle, POMI and SM7, including read the RIBA stage of work and then read some publication by RICS. So just stay updated with the industry. And also, I have shared many books on my social media platform. I recommend you to just visit that.
Brilliant. Okay. And as mentioned before, all of you are part of Noble QS training team. So could you please just let us know which courses you're responsible for? So if we'll start here with Patrick.
I'm responsible for the intermediate and advanced course, but yeah. Good.
My side, I cover the civil quantity takeoff with plans of training.
My part, it is an MEP course, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Currently, mechanical and electrical is there in our portal. Plumbing, it's still like it under processes.
Within few weeks, it will be there.
Yeah, that's good.
Brilliant. And what would you say inspired you to train these courses from the Noble QS platform? It's again a question for everybody. So we can again start with you,
Okay,
Patrick.
so for me, I have this desire to impact knowledge, to share knowledge. I mean, I have that desire to teach, so that's when Saady came up with the idea, why don't we have our own platform? I said that would be good. Gives us where we can do whatever we want to do, teach with the content and the ideas we have. So my desire to impact knowledge is what really made me join. The idea with Saady.
I think it's pretty much same because as I mentioned in a previous podcast, my both parents were teachers, so I always love it's my not only a profession but passion as well.
Calling, yeah.
Yeah, to share the knowledge and experience, and I think having my own platform enabled me to deliver the lecture the way I want it. So this is the thing that motivates me.
I mean, it's not just the way you want it, but the way we believe the young QSs will be able to key into it. Because
because they have struggled a lot, and there is no standard method or design course that can help them to. This is why our slogan is Noble QS enable the young professionals to learn, earn, and grow. Exactly. These are the exactly three things that they are looking for, and Noble QS is making sure they are getting it.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
So like what Saady, he said, like learn, earn, and grow. I just wanted to learn people, like how I have learned from my seniors.
Yes.
I wanted to deliver the same knowledge to my juniors also.
To share
the knowledge and all. And this is what I would like to like. I like to do it like in my personal life also. I like to teach people. I like to share the knowledge, and knowledge is something if you should not keep it yourself. When you are sharing it to someone, maybe you will learn the new things.
You gain more when you
So
share.
this is what the things like I have like learned from my parents also.
Yes.
Like, always you should share the knowledge and all, because you will learn yourself from the new for sharing the knowledge.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm like implementing in my life also.
Nice. And could you please briefly describe what you cover in your course?
Okay, what I have covered is currently for the mechanical course. It includes like quantity surveying training using a Plansys software. It includes the complete technical study of a mechanical system. It will teach you like what are the ducts to be used, what are the kind of ducts, what are the kind of AC units been used in the buildings. So what kind of design it comes for the HVAC systems and all. So this is what the technical details I have covered. Then I have covered all the cost side also, how to price the construction cost for the mechanical systems, and how to reduce the cost keeping the same value of that particular
engineering.
HVAC system. That is called value engineering. And I have
Okay.
covered the indirect cost and like some of the thumb rules which I have told you already. So these are what complete course I have covered for the mechanical, and the same strategies we have kept it for the electrical works also.
Good.
And I would like to ask you the same questions, Saady and Patrick, and maybe Saady, you could start.
So what exactly I cover in my course? My course, the title of my course is Civil Quantity Takeoff with Plansive. So I've covered mainly all the responsibilities and opportunities that QS is having it, all the initial aspect that QS needs to know, plus the quantity takeoff for civil work, which is including the earthwork, concrete and steel and foam work, and all of these things, including the Plansive training session, plus the costing, labor, machine equipment. So all of these things and more details are available on our website where you can see.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm to cover the intermediate course where you have more of what Saady has done at the basic, but at the intermediate level. So currently it's still ongoing, still getting the course together, and it should be ready in a couple of months' time. Full intermediate course should be up and running very
That's
soon.
exciting.
So yeah, and then we focus on the advanced. Well, the advanced is more of
Cost planning.
yeah.
And,
And we'll talk
cost
about
estimation.
Beam,
Yeah.
and how you can implement as a quantity surveyor. So yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, brilliant. And in your opinion, Patrick, how does a quantity surveyor collaborate with client to make sure that their vision is viable financially?
Yeah, so collaborating with clients, you really need to understand the client objective. What's the client hope to achieve from the project? And then also in doing so, you also need to understand or know the client's budget. When you know the client's budget, then that way you can be able to give him proper advice, on how to ensure that this job is viable, or you can say, okay, it's possible with the budget you have, you can do this, you cannot do this, So when you know his budget, you know his objectives, and then that way you can give him proper advice. That's one of the ways. And then you have
Okay.
to also try to maintain this professional standard in
That's great.
giving those advice, so that he doesn't get one advice from you as a professional and get a different advice from another same, quant
same
surveyor,
matter, yeah.
So you need to maintain that standard.
True.
Okay, great. And Saady, do you think there's a scope in quantity surveying profession?
It's very commonly asked question. I receive multiple time on my social media. See, of course, it's highly paid profession and there is a demand. There is no doubt about it. But young professionals need to understand the scope is not always in the industry. The scope is in the individual as well. Giving you an example, imagine I have seen many architects after studying 5 to 6 years of a degree, they are jobless. On the other side, I have seen a draftsman with just 3 years of a diploma working and earning $1,000+ every month. So where is the scope? Is it in a industry or is it an individual? So of course, your skills, your education all matters, but scope is in you.
That's a great answer. Okay, and Ali, how do you think your role has evolved while you were working in the field, in the construction field?
Yeah, my role, it's about in the MEP field, it evolved so much. Like I've learned so many new things and all. As an individual,
Absolutely.
I have learned what Saady has told. Like there is some people who has so much degrees and all, they cannot able to find the job. And there is some people who are having because of their experience, because they are ready to learn the new things. They are ready to involve in the new. They are ready to learn the new things, and they are ready to keep like this technology in their day-to-day life. So this is what the things what I'm telling to all the young professional who is listening to me, and this is what I advise to everyone.
No, I mean
Always.
you really evolved. You started from mechanical, now you're a QS.
And not only
What's the next
QS,
thing? Project
but
manager?
He's leading a whole
Yeah.
MEP QS team. And
So that
literally
means
he's an acting QS manager.
So that's
right
what I
now.
say. That's what I say. You can't remain a QS for so long. It's an evolving profession, and the professional has to evolve with the number of years of experience he gets or he acquires. He's going to evolve eventually. Who knows? He could become his own firm owner.
Absolutely, the future could be very exciting.
Exactly. Yes.
So,
Okay, Patrick, do you mind sharing some of the personal challenges that you faced as a QS during your study times and finding a job?
During my study time, the challenges are, I mean, it's tough, man. I remember when I had to, we had this course in my fourth year in school. It's called contract documentation. So the idea was the student was going to get his own project. They'll go out there, get any drawing, any project you have, and then you prepare the full contract documentation for that. You had to start from the measurement because it was done on, we had the taking of sheets, you have the abstracting sheet, then you have the BOQs. So, I mean, I really wanted to get an A in that course. So it was so tough, not just for myself, but for my classmates, my peers. I got addicted to coffee. Like I was drinking coffee, like I was drinking coffee, like I was drinking like water. Like I just needed to stay awake to get this measurement done, measurement from foundation up to roof. So because you had your taking off sheet which you're going to present. So that was a big challenge for me. I mean, that was the biggest challenge for me because at some point I was like, what am I doing here? What am I doing all this? Why don't I just drop out and go? I almost dropped out of the university. It was tough studying quantity surveying. Sure. But I mean, looking back now, I'm glad I went through those phases. And also it should also let the young quantity surveyors
really make
know,
you who you are.
Yeah, know that no matter how difficult it is now studying, just persevere, just absorb. That's what I keep telling people. Just absorb. You don't need to, just absorb it. At some point in time, it will all make sense. Just absorb it. So at some point it will make sense. But then also while working, well, it's a challenging job, I must say, because every day I work on different projects, different amazing projects, complex projects. So, but because of what I've been through, is there anything that can be hard as that? If I was able to scale that back in the day in school, why can't I scale this? So I dig in.
It's motivating you as well.
Yeah, it's motivating. So that's the thing about challenges. When you overcome one challenge, it motivates you to face the next one. And when you overcome that, it keeps going on, like that. So yeah. So,
okay. So Patrick.
Okay.
If you're saying that the role of quantity surveying starts at the early stages, then how can that happen even before the drawings are issued? Isn't it like a challenge in itself as well?
So ideally, if you follow the RIBA plan of work with Saady has said, so at the strategic definition stage, the QS prepares as part of the business case which the client team submits to the client. The QS is also, he could be part of the client team. He prepares what we refer to as order of cost estimate. That's a high-level estimation which he does based on the benchmarking and benchmarking rates and then cost per square meter rate. And then there are different cost per square meter rate or cost per unit, functional unit rate. So at that point, there is no drawing, there's no concept there. We don't know what the project is going to look like. So he uses the method as outlined in NRM1, order of cost estimation.
Elemental and benchmark. So you don't really need the drawings to do that.
So you don't really need it. You use past projects. But then the question arises, what if it's a unique project that's never been done before? What do you do?
True.
So again, this is where it becomes a bit technical, you use
more experience required.
More experience is required. Then you need to break down the complexity of that project into various components that you can benchmark against.
Okay, great. Well, as we are coming up to the end of our discussion, I would like to ask some of the rapid fire questions. If you could give us quick answers, and they're addressed to all of you guys. So in your opinion, what are the current trends in the QS?
Yeah, carbon calculation now, it's a big trend.
I think sustainability.
Yes, sir.
New rules of measurement.
Nice. And what are your personal near future goals?
But for me, I want to become an RICS member. That's one of my short-term goal, and hopefully get a master's degree in a BIM cost management program.
Nice.
Yeah.
For me, the nearest goal is to conduct as many seminars in different countries to educate, uplift, and motivate the quantity surveyor worldwide.
I want to pursue my MRICS degree, which is what I'm doing it now. And
nice.
This is what I want to, and I want to contribute through Noble QS, and I want to train people for the MEP works.
So getting a knowledge and sharing it back.
Yeah, of course. I think that's the uniting factor here. We all want to learn more. We all want to get qualified
Carry
more.
on self-development.
And then we also we want to develop ourselves, and we also want to share our development with others. So I think that's the uniting factor here.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, so-
And okay, another question. What would be one advice you could give to the young professionals?
For upcoming QSs, especially those still in school studying, or young who just come out from school, I'll just simply say, just persevere. It's a promising profession. Don't give up. Whatever knowledge you or whatever you are going through, either at school or university or while you are working, just absorb those knowledge. Just absorb it. That's all you can do. You don't stress too much about it. It's tough. I know. We know it's tough. We've all been there too. And I'm sure there'll still be more. There'll be tougher days to come. Harder days to come. Just absorb whatever is happening. At some point, it will make sense. So yeah. And then don't stop learning. Never stop learning. Always learn and have the eagerness to work with people who know more than you.
Brilliant.
Yeah, work with those who have more experience than you. You can gain a lot from them.
So in one line, I would like to advise, be positive, stay motivated, keep learning, because this is the only way you can make a difference.
Correct.
One line answer. Just keep learning the new things, new technology. That is the most important things to all the young professionals, even for myself also. I'm learning the new things every day.
Correct.
In my QS professional,
Yeah.
if I'm going for the works, I'm learning, okay, this is something new. So this industry, it is very complex, very big. There is always a scope for the learn to everyone, whether it is a professional, experienced professional, or it's a young professional. So always focus on learning rather than thinking something else. Okay, I don't know something or anything. So always focus on learning.
That's nice. And what do you think is your strength in QS work?
Cost management.
Nice.
For me, it's construction technologies.
For me, it's eye for details.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, either
It's
in
very important.
drawings or specifications or documents.
Okay, and our last question. How do you keep yourself motivated being a QS?
How do I keep myself motivated? I think it's the idea of a better future for my profession. Yeah, seeing myself in a better place keeps me motivated. Also, challenging projects motivate me.
Okay.
I mean,
yes.
it sounds strange, but the more complex the project is, the more excited I am to go into it.
That's brilliant.
So.
Okay.
So for me, I'm a self-motivated guy. Plus, I have a vision. I can see the things in future if I work now. Plus, more learning, it motivates me more. So that's how I keep on going.
Motivated. I'm also self-motivated. What else I can say? This is what it keep me motivated because I love my work. This is what I love this
Your
profession.
job.
This
Correct,
MEP
yeah.
QS job. I love my job. If you're loving your job and you're doing it, that is a self-motivation. It will drive you to become a good
Correct,
professional.
yeah. Absolutely.
That's
yeah.
brilliant.
This is what
That is
I
most
just want.
important thing. Well, it was such a pleasure to have you guys here. I really enjoyed the information that you shared and knowledge, and I'm sure our listeners did as well. So thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you,
and
Anil.
hopefully we'll see each other soon.
Hopefully,
Definitely.
yeah,
Thank you
sure.
so much.
Okay.
Bye, guys. It was
Bye.
lovely conversation. I hope everybody enjoyed.
Okay. See you. Bye-bye.
Cheers.